In New York, there is such a thing as squatters' rights. I don't think that they should exist, but in New York, we have what they call squatters' rights. And what a squatter's right is that if a squatter stays in the home and can prove it that they're in the home for 30 days, now they're squatters. They're legal squatters. And so now the homeowner can no longer just pick them up by their bootstraps and throw them out in the street.
Nope.
They have to go through the legal process. And like I referenced just before, the legal process is long and tedious. And these people know how to do this. We're going to go way back in time, Sam.
Way back.
And we're going to talk about my first experience with squatters. And it was 1986, and I was working at Merrill Lynch. And there was this house that was for sale by owner.
Mm-hmm.
And I inquired about this house because it was an unbelievably nice looking house. It was located on 66 Ocean Avenue in Bayshore. Now, Ocean Avenue in Bayshore is south of Montauk. It's on the way to Captain Bill's and the ferries that go to Fire Island.
Right.
And this home had, I didn't know this at the time because I was very young. Okay, I was like 26 maybe, 28 maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And this home had a very, very cool history. It once belonged to Frank Farrell. You know who Frank Farrell was?
No, why don't you remind me?
Frank Farrell was the original owner of the New York Yankees.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this was before the George Steinbrenner era.
Not much into sports.
Yeah, I know. So this was around the 1860s. And what Frank Farrell did is he used to entertain guests. This was his summer house. He lived in New York City. And he spent those summers, the sweltering summers, down by the shore, which was where Ocean Avenue is. It's not a waterfront home, but it's right across the street from the waterfront. Okay? So, did you ever see the movie The Great Gatsby?
Yes.
Remember that scene in the hotel where they were cracking ice and they were venting the ice to
Yes.
make them feel cooler? Well, this is what I'm picturing, okay? I didn't see it, but so the other interesting thing is that Frank Farrell was the owner in New York City of brothels and saloons.
Oh boy.
And these brothels and saloons were frequented by, heavy hitters in what was called Tammany Hall. You know Tammany Hall, what it was back then?
No.
It was City Hall.
Oh.
Okay, Tammany Hall. Mr. Farrell was not the only owner of notoriety. The person that I met over the telephone, never met him in person. His name was George Forrester, and he was the owner of this house. And when I spoke to him on the phone, he told me that he couldn't come to New York, but he didn't tell me why he couldn't come to New York. He told me to go look at the house. I went and looked at the house. In the house, there were squatters in the house. They let me in. They were friendly. They let me in, and they let me look at the house, and the house was in shambles. But this house had golden oak paneling. They had 7 fireplaces, 7 bathrooms, 12 bedrooms. It was an amazing house. It was gorgeous. You know that it had to be, in its prime time, it had to be a gorgeous house. I started to learn about the process of evicting tenants, evicting squatters.
Yeah.
I called up the cops. The cops came. They said, listen, these guys have electric. These guys have heat. We can't evict them. There was no talk about the legality and leases back then. We put the house on the market. We started showing it on the outside. And lo and behold, everybody in the office was laughing at me, and they were telling me that nobody's going to buy this house. Nobody.
Right.
I was a young kid. This house had been listed like 15 times before me. It never sold. What did I know? I took the listing, and guess what? I sold it.
Wow, look
Okay.
at you. How old were you?
I was 28.
Wow.
Younger than you.
Yeah.
I sold this house. The tenants were evicted. I sold the house, and I got Justin Light to represent the seller, George Forrester. Okay. Justin Light was a young kid, just like I was, same age. He had just graduated from law school, and he was working in his father's law firm, Joe Light, in West Islip. After I did the open house, I found out from Justin that Mr. Forrester would not be attending the closing. And I said, why not? It was because he had a warrant for an arrest.
What?
Yeah. Mr. Forrester, probably, God bless his soul, he's probably gone a long time ago because this is like probably 35, 40 years ago. He had a warrant for his arrest. And the house has since been sold once more, okay, from the client that I sold it to the client that bought it. It was just sold in 2017. In fact, it was featured in Newsday like they do.
Oh, get out of here.
And it sold for, I believe, $645,000, which is nothing for a mansion. This was a literal mansion, Sam.
Yeah.
It had servants' quarters on the third floor.
Oh, wow, that's really cool.
Yep.
That's really something.
Yep.
Oh my God! And it must have been scary going in there and seeing these squatters for the first time. You must have been like, "Who are you?"
I thought I was going to poop my pants.